But right now, I think he's on the line. I don't know if he fell asleep or something at 4:30, but we didn't get him. But
He's
now
a busy
he's with
man.
us.
He's got stuff to do. Why he got to be asleep?
He ain't got nothing to do right now.
He's busy.
He on the internet making rap records.
Wait a minute. Hey, Chris, TNT's on one line. Like everybody's calling.
He does have a lot of jobs. TNT,
He has more
Yahoo,
jobs than I
Fox
have.
Sports. That's right. It's our man Chris Haynes. What's up, brother?
Hey guys, sorry about that, man. Glad to be
That's
on,
all right.
man. My apologies.
That's all right. I was telling people, I always say, jokingly, but still serious. You the second best media hooper out there, and you also the second best media MC. I didn't know, but you got skills.
I didn't know that. So who's number one on both of those categories?
Come on, man.
Only a 50-year-old guy is going to sit there and try to convince people that he's the best hooper of all NBA media. A 50-year-old guy.
I don't want to mess with Chris now because Chris is young. But
Go ahead.
But I think my legacy. Y'all don't hoop like y'all used to though. Is that correct? We used to hoop at every event. Y'all don't. I don't think y'all do that anymore, Chris.
Not like that. Not like that. Personally, I hoop still probably about twice a week. But no, like the events that you guys used to do, I heard about those legendary games. You with Stephen A. and used to play back then at the NABJ. Nah, we definitely don't do it like that.
Right,
yeah,
right.
We used to have a tournament at NABJ. You used to win a trip to Disney World and all that. I mean, it used to be big time. I once played NABJ.
You remember, Rob, too. They had some hoopers.
Oh, no doubt.
It wasn't just sports writers at NABJ. Some NBA BJ.
You know who I played with? I was on a team with Mark Spears and Galen Gordon. That was the team, the three of us. 3-on-3.
Wow. Now, I know Mark Spears could play. Can Galen and you play? Yeah, Mark played at Sacramento State.
Me and Galen were both tall. That's all I'll say.
Right. All right, well, Chris, look, before we going to get into some NBA talk with you, but we do have to ask you, what inspired you to go ahead and put that rhyme on the internet? That went viral. So what inspired you to do that?
Pure boredom. I mean, golly, look, I'm getting a chance. Opportunity to spend time with my family, my lovely girls, but there's such a thing as too much time, you know what I mean? And I'm experiencing that a little bit right now. I appreciate it, I value it, but I'm bored, CB, and I still have to work, so it's still, if I get news here and there, that's something I still have to produce, but I got a lot of time on my hands, and so my daughter, she's been, she tinkers around with music on her laptop, and she has a studio. She has a studio set, on her laptop, and so she made this song. And, I don't rap or nothing like that, but she made this song, and I thought it was so tight. And so I was like, babe, she's 17. I'm like, babe, if I knock out a couple bars for you, can you put me on the song? She's like, nah. I'm like, babe, come on, I can do this. So she told me no anyway, but I went and, knocked some bars out. So that's actually what y'all heard. It was a song. She has a song. The song is called Don't Tell Me How to Feel. And so I was trying to add some bars to her song in hopes that she would put it on. And she didn't. And so I was like, you know what, babe, I'm bored. Can I at least, this part that can I put it out? She was like, no, this is my beat. I don't want my beat getting out there, getting everybody ideas. So I had to pick a new beat. Put the bars on it. All from I don't have any mics. That's why the copy sounds garbage. So I don't have a mic, but I did what I can do, and I just put it out. And I was bored. I figured, man, everybody's going through something, during this time. Might as well give everybody a laugh. That was the intent.
I'll tell you one thing. Good. Your daughter's a smart young woman, because she's right about the music industry. You put beats out there, somebody will steal it on a heartbeat. So she's smart.
She was serious. No, Rob, she was serious, man. I was like, baby, I got like 300,000 followers out there, baby. I put this out. You can be seen. She's like, nah, Dad. First of all, I don't want you on it. Second of all, I don't want nobody steal my beat.
Exactly.
So right. She's like, not without a contract. Shoot. So Chris, what with the NBA? I read some stories today where, they're looking at maybe even playing into September if necessary to complete this season Are you at the point where you think, come hell or high water, they going to have an NBA season? They going to finish up the 2019-20 season. I mean, unless, this thing just is much worse than we can all imagine. They going to figure out a way to play.
I think that's the case, Chris. And I don't want to, lose from you a question, but I got to get on you in your freestyle you had, Chris. Now, look, it was solid. Rob, it was solid. It was solid material. But it was like my old car that I used to have. I used to have a Pinto back in the day. But not me, my family. It took a long time.
Did anybody bump into the bumper?
I told you it was old school. I told you it was old school in the rhyme.
No, it ain't that.
Vintage.
It took a long time. Like you had to rev it up before you got it going. You know what I mean? Like once you got past the 7 consecutive times Chris said flow, then he got to really get to it. It's like, oh, okay. All right, I see some skills. It took a while to get to it.
But you know what, Chris Haynes? Maybe Chris Broussard needs a blue pill to get it started a little
you know he's a wannabe comedian. All right. You know he's a wannabe comedian.
I'm just saying, when you get 50,
Never have no blue pill. Never have they touched my lips. That's for you, Rob. You know that.
Oh, man.
I eat like M&M's. What are you talking about?
I think you bought. I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm gonna leave it
alone,
alone,
Chris. It took a while. It was solid. It just took a while. But no, to answer your question, I really do think. I think Adam Silver. If he has anything to say about it, he's very adamant that he wants to get this season concluded, resumed and concluded. I think it's going into a point where. I really do think we're a few months away. That's my first. I'm not citing any sources or anything like that. I think that's my personal view, just the way things are going. I heard, President Donald Trump said, he would like to get, society back, the regular in a few weeks. But health experts don't agree with that as of right now. So I don't know where we are right now. It just doesn't seem like we're anywhere close to sports play resuming, and if it does resume late, as you're talking about, Chris, going into September, I don't really see a scenario where we're going to have an extended time to finish the regular season. It seems like we might have to get straight to the playoffs, and when you're talking straight to the playoffs after a long hiatus, that's putting the guys at, you putting them in jeopardy of a risk of an injury. So there's a lot of question marks to all this.
Chris Haynes from Yahoo Sports, TNT, and Fox Sports 1 joining the Odd Couple.
Earlier we were talking, and I said that the player that this season possibly being lost or whatever hurts the most is LeBron James. Obviously, 17th year in the season, in his career, getting older by the day. You hear that? That's his championship logical clock ticking on LeBron. And he knows that, this was a golden opportunity to win a championship they got off to a great start. They're the number 1 seed, all the other stuff that was going. AD's playing great. He's having a great season, when you add all that together. But if this is lost or doesn't win, this could really hurt whether or not he ever wins a championship in L.A.
Well, it definitely can, and I see what you're saying in regards to LeBron because he's up there. He's up there. It's only, he's on ball time right now. And so that's why, even the Lakers, I had Quinn Cook. It's funny, I had Quinn Cook on my pod last week. And I don't know if you guys saw Michael Thompson's comment about, I think it was his tweet. It was like if the NBA season can't resume, and he mentioned some reasons, but, the Lakers should be ruled the champions. Quinn Cook agreed with that.
Oh, God, please. No, they did not. How? Milwaukee has the best record, doesn't it?
Right, they don't even have the best record in the league.
They don't have the best record.
I hear. No, I think Quinn was joking when he agreed with it, but
But Michael was serious.
Man, he tweeted that. That's what he tweeted. That's what he tweeted.
Get him on the show. That's crazy.
But look, seriously, of all the teams that's really out there, in contention, I had 3 or 4 who I think had a legitimate shot at winning this thing. But if you look at all those teams, you think we believe that those are teams that's going to, still be relevant, assuming Giannis doesn't leave and do anything, but we assume those guys are going to be relevant for years down the road. You really can't say that for the Lakers. It's a couple year window. So for the Lakers and LeBron in particular, yeah, if this season is lost, and Rob and Chris, even if the season resumes, man, the Lakers were hot. You know what I mean? They had chemistry, man. They had things going. It's going to be hard to just pick that back up. And like I said, when you got aging bones, it's really going to be hard to pick that up after a long hiatus. So, definitely for them, I would definitely be concerned if I'm a member of that team.
Could you see any way that Kevin Durant, like if they start in July, do you see he probably will be ready physically? You see any way he would maybe play?
This is my thing, Chris. I think he would be healthy enough to play. Right. But if you're stepping into that scenario to where, it might be the playoffs at that point. Like, is it realistic, and is it fair for Kevin Durant to step into competition when guys are just really going all out trying to get to the finals? So I just think it would be smart. I think so far he's been handling it the right way, and I think, he should return next season.
I agree, because Kyrie probably wouldn't be playing anyway. So how much chance. So yeah. I agree with that.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense because God forbid he were to get hurt again and you were rushing him back out there and he hadn't played all year, in competition-wise. It would just be a mistake. I think you could only lose from that. So that'll be interesting to see. Also with the NBA, I get it. There's money on the table, TV money that's going that's going to be lost if they can't make up these games or play these games. But also, Chris, what happened in China, too. This will be a monumental losses for the NBA when you put it all together if they can't resume the season.
Man, the NBA, society, the world, 2020 has been rough for people personally, economically.
Yep.
It's been brutal, guys. We're not even halfway through this year. It's been brutal. So, So for all the reasons that we just said and stated, that's definitely why Adam Silver and the league and the owners, they want to get this season going. There's a lot on the line. That's why I lean towards saying, people ask me, what do you think is going to happen? I lean towards saying, man, look, I think if there's any way they can do it, I think they're going to resume things. And I don't know if fans will be allowed to attend games. I don't even know if I will be allowed to attend the games, but I think they're going to play those games and try to recoup some of the substantial loss that they've endured. So
Chris,
I'm just waiting.
Have you talked to anybody in the league? We got about a minute left. Have you talked to anybody in the league about the ramifications this will have for the salary cap, the following season? It seems like it's going to be monumental.
Yeah, no, that's pretty noted. I don't have the exact numbers, and I think as things get closer to being ruled that this will be a season that's going to start, or being ruled that this season is indeed canceled, I think that's when we'll start to get those numbers. Especially considering what time of the year it would be at that time. But no, it's going to be substantial loss if that happens, and I think that's the league's worst nightmare scenario.
And I know you got to go. This is the last thing. Real quick, I'm just saying, the league looked really crazy today. The Philadelphia 76ers talking about 20% pay cuts, even the front office and assistant coaches and vendors and custodians and everybody. And yet Steve Ballmer today put out $400 million cash to buy the Forum for the Clippers. You know what I'm saying? Does that not look bad for the league?
Yeah, the optics, bad timing right there. It's from the Sixers thing, that definitely could have been avoided. We kind of knew Chris Ballmer was, this was in the works for a while, so the timing just isn't right. But for the Sixers standpoint, come on now, y'all didn't see that coming, Right. So that was horrendous.
All right, Chris, great stuff, man. Keep up the great work. Stay busy. Love your family.
Yes.
And we'll look for
safe.
that next track that's dropping from you.
I'll tell you right now, if this hiatus continues any longer, I'll have an album finished by May.
All right, brother. Peace, man.
Y'all take care.
We got 3-time NBA champion BJ Armstrong coming up right now. BJ, welcome to the Odd Couple, brother. How are you?
Oh man, I'm doing great. I finally get to be a guest on the Odd Couple. How you guys doing? You hanging in there?
Man,
we hanging in there, man. We
what a world
we making the
right
best
now.
of it, you know.
Yeah, no, I hear you. You guys be safe out there. You guys be
Right,
safe.
you too, man. Well, look, we start off the show, and before we get into current NBA stuff, I want to ask you this. Rob and I start off the show talking about, LeBron and his chances. Like, this year seemed to be a great chance for him to win a championship. And obviously now, we'll see what happens. Do they play the season and how the layoff affects him and other teams? But we were talking about he's got the 3 rings, and 2 of them have been incredibly hard to get. Now, that doesn't diminish him at all.
Right, he
but
got
the 3
them, right.
the 3-1 comeback against Golden State, which is his best one probably. And then even the one where they beat San Antonio
with that
in
Ray Allen
Miami
shot.
when Ray Allen hit the shot that kind of saved the Heat. Why do you think – now, you guys, you won 3 with Michael Jordan, and you guys never went 7 games in the finals. And even, when Jordan won his other 3, he never went 7. Why do you think LeBron's titles have been so hard to come by? He's got 3 in 17 years or 16 years. Why do you think it's been so hard? As great as he is, and he's obviously arguably the greatest ever, why do you think it's been so hard for him to win championships?
Well, I think, guys, it's incredibly hard to win in this league. And when you're talking about winning at the highest level, talking about winning a championship, I think the difficulty of anyone who's been down that path will know that every possession, every game, every series kind of takes on a life of its own. And, look, the players that he's had to play against, when you get to that level, you're playing against the best of the best of the best, right? You just don't go and beat Tim Duncan, or you don't just go beat Steph Curry. You just, these are like phenomenal players. So, when you're playing, sometimes, there's a 50-50 ball, right? And sometimes it bounces your way, sometimes it doesn't. And, but give him credit. He's gotten there, right? He's been there. He's at the game. He's consistently been able to give himself an opportunity. And, but again, when you get to that moment, anything is possible, and sometimes you're on the short end of the stick.
When we talk about BJ, the layoff, or how long it'll be, or whether or not the NBA seems like they want to finish the season no matter what, no matter when they got to start, Labor Day, September. What do you think of, along with LeBron, obviously they were hot, they were rolling the Lakers and how they were playing, but it might help LeBron a little bit, year 17, to get a break. But can it also help the Clippers, who had a couple of issues with some of their players, who are now getting this time off to be healed, and they weren't that far behind the Lakers, and in fact, most people had them as the favorite to win. So could this time off also help the Clippers heal up and be a full team ready to go when it's time for the playoffs?
Well, anytime you're trying to make a playoff run, right, and let's, for the sake of the conversation, let's assume that, they'll continue at some point. You want to be as healthy as you possibly can. And but as you get older, it's one thing I learned is that when you get older, it's hard to get those engines started back up. So you don't want to be off too long. You always have to be aware of that. You're not like when you're younger where your body just recovers and you come back. You like the time off, but at the same time, if I'm the Lakers, because the Lakers were in a good groove, right? The Lakers were playing well. They had, their things are going. It's like ending a playoff series too early. You're off for like 2 weeks. It takes about 2 games to get back in what we call playing condition. So it's kind of a fine line there. The Clippers had some health problems with every team. And when you get to this point of the season, everyone is hurt. Everyone is playing through something. So, but we'll see how this kind of plays out. This is a very unusual situation, to say the least. And I don't know how anyone's going to react to this. This is the first we're seeing it. So, but it's I would be being off this long. You just don't come back and start back playing because of the length of time that you're going to miss, the practice time and all of those things. So I think it's going to be really starting the season all over again to try to find your rhythm as quickly as you can if and when they start back playing again.
BJ, as we mentioned earlier, you, of course, played with Michael Jordan, won 3 championships with him in Chicago. And one thing I say about today, a lot of today's stars dominate the basketball. Yep. And I always say, now Michael Jordan shot a ton. He shot the ball a lot. But I don't think he dominated the basketball. Like, he didn't over-dribble. You guys weren't sitting there watching him dribble for 15, 20 seconds on various possessions. There were a lot of possessions he didn't even touch the ball, which is almost unheard of for stars today. Am I right in saying that, or am I off? Because I don't think Jordan dominated the ball. He shot, like I said, he shot it a ton, but he didn't dominate it and over dribble like these guys today do.
Well, I think the one thing with Michael, so it was very unusual, is one, we as a team, and I think this all started from Phil Jackson, is we made a conscientious effort to not allow him to play in isolation basketball in the first 3 quarters, right? If he played one-on-one, let's say in quarter number 2, Phil, I vividly remember Phil would call a timeout to ask us and would vividly tell us it's not time for that yet. We have to find a way to play as a group and figure out how to play. And Michael had the discipline to do something I think, not many people give him credit, but you're alluding to it. And now he always played basketball within 3 dribbles. So if you ever watch a Jordan tape, he did everything within 3 dribbles. Right? 1, 2, pull up, 1, dunk, 1, 2, 3, shot, or 1, 2, take on the double team pass. So he had the discipline to play individual basketball in a team kind of setting. And just something that he kind of perfected. I know it made it easier for role players like myself to play with him because you always knew what he was doing. And we knew when we had to go to him in isolation, which required more, but we always tried to play the first, 36 minutes with him, and then the last 4 minutes of every game was all him, right? So, the first 44 minutes, our job was to keep it 0-0, and then the last 4 minutes, it was his job to go win it. So that was kind of the formula, and he was one of the greatest closers ever. So it seemed to work for us and work for him.
Is it fair? I'm sorry, Rob. I got to follow up. I see some of that in Kawhi. Like Kawhi, I think is different from a lot of the stars today in that he doesn't really dominate the ball either. And he, like you said, he's got the 2 dribble pull up. And I've even asked Michael, and he said Kawhi's game does remind him of his own. And Kawhi is, he's as effective as anybody in the league. Do you see similarities, and do you think that's one reason? Like, he fits seamlessly into both the Raptors and the Clippers without even playing all the games, but he's able to fit in when he does play. And I think a part of it is, like you said, he doesn't dribble all the time, and it's a couple dribbles here, and then he makes his move. Is that on point as well, you think?
Well, normally when we talk about the best player, we tend to focus in on the offensive end of the game. I think if there's anything to me that's similar with Kawhi, and if you want to, compare him to Jordan, is that both of those players had the ability to dominate the game from the defensive point of view. Michael Jordan got all the publicity, scored all the points, he did a thing, but we always knew this. He was not only the best offensive player, he was the best defensive player in the game. So he was attacking for a full 48 minutes. He would attack you on the offensive end, and then he would what we consider intelligent pressure. He applied pressure on you on the other end, which was just as dominant. Kawhi Leonard, he's been an interesting player to watch because when he came into the league, he certainly wasn't the best player on his own team, right? He could have been arguably the 3rd or 4th option at that time when they were winning when he first started. And now clearly he's the number 1 option, but he is a far superior defensive player, and he can dominate the game from that perspective. And I think that's what makes him fascinating because defensively he applies the intelligent pressure. When you can apply that type of pressure defensively on someone, it forces you to play a certain way, right? Where you have to be attentive all the time as an offensive player and a defensive player, because this guy is putting this pressure on you every single time. You can't be relaxed around Kawhi Leonard if you're an offensive player. So defensively, him and Jordan, they could attack the game. Like, they had an advantage not only on the offensive end, but defensively. They were stronger. They have these huge hands. They're athletic, amazing, physical abilities. They can jump. They can do the things. So that, to me, is what makes him makes him fascinating in this era, because defensively he can dominate the game, and he can win a game just by playing defense.
BJ Armstrong, 3-time champion. Great stuff, man.
Thanks
really
for the knowledge.
It. Yeah.
One of my buddies in New Jersey, Walt, he texted me. He said, I hope you can get BJ in your rotation. That guy has so much knowledge. So he's enjoying you. So that's a good thing, BJ.
You guys are too kind. You guys are too kind. I appreciate it. Hey, man, you guys keep doing your thing. I appreciate it anytime.
All
All right, BJ,
brother, stay
appreciate
safe,
it.
man.